to the world. Subscribe now to the Hot 97 YouTube channel. It's Ebro in the Morning with Laura Stiles and Rosenberg.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's Ebro, Laura Rosenberg. This morning we needed to check in with the people who were directly affected. You know, the rest of us, we heard the stories, and I mean, it's emotional, it's heart-wrenching stories that we heard about what took place in the Bronx at the Twin Peaks building there. The families that were lost, the lives that were lost, and the families who are still living through that trauma and travesty of trying to, you know, put their lives back together. Joining us today, Shanasia, who lives at Twin Peaks and been there since she was a little kid. And Yarida Rodriguez is also with us today. We wanted to just check in with y'all because you guys are still dealing with everything that took place at Twin Peaks. How are you guys doing today?
I'm doing good. Thank you. How about yourself?
We're doing all right. We're doing all right. Yarida, how are you doing today? You doing good?
I'm doing good. Getting used to being a new mom.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. In the middle of the madness. So this is bringing me some light.
That's beautiful. Yarida, talk about where are you right now with the baby, and just talk about how you're managing everything and where you guys are currently staying.
Well, my family and I are staying on a Airbnb, and we how am I managing this is hard. I'm not gonna lie, because when you're getting ready for a new member in the family, especially your baby, you know, you plan everything, you know, you see that nursery in your head. It takes a lot of work, and you know, within 5 minutes you lose everything. You know, I'm not just a mom to this new baby, I'm a mother of 2 other young men, and it's putting up with them is more difficult than with a newborn, because the newborn doesn't know anything what's going on. But the kids, when they go through this, you know, how can you tell them, you know, everything is going to be all right when that's not what they're seeing? So, you know, thanks to family and the community, we are at least staying afloat.
How hard are things to get resources right now for your support? I think that's the one thing we want to delve into today is the money that was raised, the support you need, the communication with the individuals that are supposed to be supporting you, that we all hear from city officials are supporting you. What's the truth?
Well, we are waiting for them. I have been in contact and emailing everybody asking how these funds will be distributed, when, and we have no answers yet. Yesterday, one of the council members, Oswald Felix, told me that within today or tomorrow they will.
Oh, we lost. I think it turns you off. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, now you're back.
Okay, yesterday, the council member, Oswald Felix, called me. I asked him.
Somebody probably trying to call her. No, I muted you again, Yarida. Look, she got her hands full. She's trying to feed a baby and do this.
Right.
We can't hear you.
We'll come back to Yarida once she can in a second. Shanasia, maybe you could pick up where she left off. How is communication between city officials and you guys having access to the resources and the support?
Well, for one, it hasn't been easy. I have a few friends that's been emailing them, calling, reaching out to try to get their story heard. I have a YouTube channel myself that I made a video of the people speaking of what's going on with them, because me personally, I don't like people speaking for me. That bothers me to the highest peak. It's like, y'all don't live here, so who are you to say anything for me? And not only that, I just see photo ops with these people that ran in front of the threes that day. Sorry, I call it the threes. That ran in front of the threes that day to speak on how everything is going to be moving and how we're going to get this done for you. And as soon as I saw them, it was just like I knew something was not right.
They was just there to take photos.
Yeah, exactly. So I went up to Mayor Adams and I was like, "Who are you? What's your name? When did you become mayor? And how can you help me?" Like, you know. And he was just like, "Oh, what's your name? Let me get your name. I'm gonna get back to you." And me, I speak for my people. Like, this has been mentally crazy. My business is built off of mental health, basically. And I hurt for my people. Like, how dare you? I have friends that make too much money now that actually lived on the third floor and can't even, they're turning them away to get placement. Why are they still in apartments? That should be an automatic, like, you know what? To me, it's mind blowing that in this city, we have a system in place for fires, but then we don't have a system in place for the people who are homeless after the fires. Like, that should be an automatic. Me growing up, I knew about fire safety due to the commercials and stuff that was on TV, right? We don't have that nowadays. Now you have an open opportunity. You have nothing but children, right? That from the threes that you can use or adults to use to promote fire safety. And right after that, there's buildings going on fire right and left. But, you know, we've seen this before, this gentrification. If you leave a building that's unkept, eventually something's going to happen and you get to kick people out and you get to charge them more money for other
so
people.
You think 100% this is another version of the Bronx is burning again, where you have people who own buildings that are dilapidated and not taken care of. They catch on fire and they're able to get people out of the buildings, refurbish them, raise the prices, and move other people in.
Most definitely. I definitely see that that's where that's going. And it's funny you even said that because I was even looking at that book. Somebody mentioned it to me and I went to go like research it. And I didn't get it. I just heard about it the other day. And it's basically the same concept. Like, seriously, this owner has like 100 and something buildings right now, right? So it's no way that you're only offering people one building. And then it just so happened to be right around the corner from a methadone clinic. Like, I'm just reviewing everything that goes on in the Black and brown community as it is already. And you mean to tell me that I have a 3-year-old son, by the way. So I must come out my building and watch the fiends and all that have like, and I don't know how true it is, but didn't Joe Biden approve crack pipe? So no, that just doesn't make sense.
Well, he didn't. They do have safety kits that they put out to people. They've been doing that safe needle programs for many years. Where they want to encourage people who are addicts to go to a location and use safely, but it does affect communities and people in adverse ways because they have to see that. And like you're saying, your child, people don't want to have to see that stuff and have their kids see those things. So I understand that too. But let me ask you a question. You feel as though this landlord could be offering you guys more locations to stay, and that's not happening
at all. It was just pushing to this one building, and at first everybody was hearing, "Oh, there's no, you can't have no company," and this, then the third. Eventually, that turned out not to be true. But the fact that the super was even saying this and telling people, "Oh, you can't have dogs," and this, then the third. So people like, I'm paying rent to do what? But I also have friends that's, you know, well, first, the other like NYCHA and CVR and all this extra stuff, they wasn't even, well, CVR was there, but NYCHA for the people with regular Section 8 wasn't even helping. Their doors was not open. You had to get the runaround. My mother fell down a flight of stairs the day of the fire because they was bringing bodies down, and there was a body on the floor. There was like, you know, we went through a lot. My mother already have sciatica. So it's like, you're not offering people the stuff that they need. Everybody have different individual needs. So if you're offering people the same thing, of course, eventually people who doesn't fit that criteria are going to be left to the wayside. And that's not fair. Like, I celebrated my birthday on Friday in the hotel. Like, who does that?
Shanasia, I have a question for you because, you know, the Bronx Mutual Aid on Twitter was very vocal and has been advocating for you guys. And they're one of the few organizations that reached out to give you guys a platform to say your side of the story. Some of the things that they were saying were like that some of the people were staying in hotels that were bed bug infested, that, you know, there was a point where we were very vocal on the show because we heard that you guys were were a part of a food program that was delivering meals to you, and all of a sudden that stopped out of nowhere. Then we got the Bronx Borough president involved, and she said she stepped in, and now those meals are continued. We have an interview with her on our website and our YouTube page where she breaks down you know, the process and how it takes time. But from the initial time of the disaster, how much money have you received from the money raised?
Well, see, I'm not on my mom's lease, so I can't get no money because, you know, I'm not on the lease. And I don't even feel like that's fair in a sense because I came back to help my mom. But, you know, I'm glad that whoever's getting it, whatever. At the end of the day, I'm just worried about people getting homes and the food situation. All right, so you tell me this. If you're telling people they have till March 7th to get out of the hotels, now we know that's not a guaranteed because everybody hasn't found homes, right? And
they're not helping you find a home.
Right. And they're not actively helping people find a home. And they got Bronx Works working. They have like 3 people to deal with everybody in the building. That's crazy. They're not equipped to deal with that. And then I see them asking for people to come work. So that's one. And then, all right, so we leaving March 7th. Why are you stopping the food on February 28th? And then knowing that there's no kitchen in the hotels. That's
right,
one.
Right.
We have a small refrigerator, right? There's elderly, there's children. Like, you know, it's just like common sense. Like, first of all, in my hotel, there's no microwaves. And then now that they don't have the World Kitchen people working there, they're just, the food that they recently just started getting, they're getting the overflow because they're not counting of how many people are actually in the hotel. So now they didn't have papers to say what day or what time they brought the food. And there's no way to store it. Like, they don't have it inside a heat container or anything like that. It's just out. So now if you don't have nobody watching, it's people picking in the food, and people I don't want to eat that. And I'm not going to feed that to my son either.
Right. The organization of the food distribution and the resources that will be there for you guys to actually prepare the food and keep the food, you know, sanitary is not there.
Right. Exactly. So it's like, I'm feeling like you're treating us like animals now. Basically, it's just like, oh, y'all keep complaining about food. I take this food. Shut up.
And that's what's happening right now.
I mean, since people been speaking up, they have like trying to do a better system, but it's still just out in the open, like out for anybody.
Like a buffet.
Like a buffet. Like, you just pick it up. I felt bad. I'm like, damn, I know there's like homeless people on the streets. I wanted to take whatever we had to like give it out to people on the streets at this moment because y'all wasting so much food. Like that, y'all just being very obnoxious about it. That's how I felt. Like, it was just like here, take that. Y'all keep complaining about not eating, so here, take that. And then they started piling it on top of each other. The next day, there was food in the lobby. I have videos. There was food in the lobby, brand new food in the lobby, right by the door when you walk in. When we have it downstairs, like, so you expect me to just eat the food that you just left on the floor that everybody just walking back and forth in, and now you just wasted all of that food that's in 2 big boxes. And I'm just like, wow, like that's just so. That's not cool.
It's not being done professionally.
Yeah, basically. And it's just if we were white, you could not tell me they would treat us the same way. Sorry.
Did your mom end up getting anything worth note, like from this stuff, like money, anything?
Yeah, my mom received money, but it's like
how much did she receive?
To be honest, I didn't ask her. I know she got supposedly from the mayor's funds that they raised. I know they gave $2,250 to each household.
Right.
That was the gift card.
Yeah, the gift cards. And then,
but was that received though? Just to be clear for clarity,
that was received in the beginning.
Okay,
yes, very much so.
And then they're only giving it to, according to you, they're only, unless you're on that lease, that's the only people that are allowed. It doesn't matter if you were living there, but only the people on the lease are receiving the money.
Most definitely.
Okay, got it.
Yadira, I think we have your audio back. Are you with us?
Yes.
Is this your same experience that Shanasia is having? Are you experiencing the same thing, or is your experience for your family different?
Well, in this, not everybody's that different. As I stated, I'm not staying in a hotel, and but they haven't bring us anything. They haven't asked what we need. They don't care. In terms of the money, all they gave us was a card with $2,050, and then another card with $200 for food, which we can only use in the state of New York. Why I say this? Because if we cross the bridge and we need to
Right.
get money or food, we don't have access to that.
Mm.
Mm.
So
Yeah,
it's
you're not going to be able to
micromanaging
use it
everything.
outside the state. That's for sure.
Yes.
And then when you have the
Anytime there's a
newborn,
state program, yeah, anytime there's a state program or state funding or these sort of things, that's always an issue. And in this tri-state area where you do have people that live in such close proximity to a different state, Connecticut, Jersey, yeah, it always causes problems. I've heard of that before.
Right.
ladies,
So
what about the Gambian Youth Organization? They raised a lot of money too. Have they been able to aid you guys in any way?
They've been the only ones aiding, or them and South Mutual Aid been really the only ones aiding. When the food stopped, they was on the ground, but they've been on the ground since day one. So I feel like
Right.
Vanessa and them try to use that as a scapegoat. Like, oh yeah, we had Gambian. No, you didn't have Gambian Youth Center on the floor. Like they was there because they wanted
Yeah,
to be there. Like
that's
it
right.
wasn't because of you. So that's not like, let's be fair. Let's call a spade a spade. Like stop hiding behind small people who's not getting no money, no funding from nobody else. Like they gave out money and they kept some money. And some people was complaining about that. But had they not, when we needed food, they wouldn't have been able to give us none. Right?
Mhm.
Right.
The bottom line when it comes to the landlord of the Twin Peaks building is the landlord of the Twin Peaks building, we reported on this, has been getting complaints long before this fire.
Yes, way longer. I actually had a
Which is
dream
why
about
the space heater issue in the building was even happening, because people were complaining about the building having problems.
absolutely.
This landlord, I forget the landlord's name, maybe y'all know it, was also on the committee for Mayor Adams.
That part.
And so people have speculated that this landlord hasn't been being held accountable because of his influence in politics. And as one of y'all pointed out, has a few hundred buildings in the city.
Right.
And so people suspect that some of the issues around how this building was being managed and the problems that it had weren't being addressed because of this landlord's political influence. So he wasn't being held accountable. And now people are speculating that some of the issues that are taking place right now with people not being able to get the support and resources they need from the mayor's fund also play into the fact that this landlord doesn't want to be held accountable and doesn't want to be put in the spotlight.
Yeah, because it makes it seem like I paid you to be the face. Basically, I gave you money, this, then the third. So now do my dirty work. That's what it looked like to me. It's like I could hide behind y'all because nobody's really saying much about him as well. You see what I'm saying? Everybody is focusing on the Mayor Adams and the Vanessa Gibsons and this, then the third. But this is not their building. They don't own that building.
Right. This is a private building.
Exactly.
It's not a city building, correct? Twin Peaks is not a city. It's
Twin
not
Parks,
a NYCHA building.
I heard it was a affordable housing building. I could be mistaken. It's not. Yeah, it's not NYCHA. But they work with NYCHA.
But they work with NYCHA. So it's one of those public-private partnerships that
Basically.
they call. Got it. Well, Shanasia, thank you
it's
for your insight. Yadira, can you hear us? God bless you and your family.
Yes.
Shanasia, God bless you and your mom, your family, and everybody over there at Twin Peaks dealing with the bullshit. It is, and when you're dealing with situations like this, and we've talked about this a lot, even going all the way back to Superstorm Sandy, right, where people got put out of their buildings, and we talked about on the air at that time that they probably wasn't going to put a lot of people back in those buildings because they want that real estate and they want to, They want to change the values.
Exactly.
And gentrification, et cetera, et cetera. And I hope this isn't one of those scenarios.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We also have go ahead, Shanasia.
We also have other fire victims that came and went, like that only was allowed 3 days. Like, this is, it's a blessing and a curse, because it's like, if our building wasn't on TV, who's to know what really happened to us? You know what I'm saying? Like, I seen people come from other fires that's been happening around the Bronx and another building across that he owns. They just don't put this on TV, but people are like, it's sad. Like, people are just being thrown away while they just up the rent and, taking whatever. Like, it's sad. It's sad. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's clean. What you saying? Look, listen, history suggests that your level of frustration, Shanasia, is warranted, and that your speculation is not unfounded.
Mm-hmm.
There's historical precedent to suggest what you're saying might be true. And until we learn different and get better communication, I think it's important for us to point that out.
Right.
Well, thank you guys for your time. God bless. Man, we're sending y'all love and light.
Thank you.
And we have your info, and you guys have ours, so you can always keep us in tune with what's going on.
Okay.
Thank
you.
You
so very much
God
for this. I appreciate you. Sending positive vibrations your way to you and your family. Have a good one.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much.
Cheers.